and welcome to Good Times. It's good times for me because I'm sitting across my classmate from college. It's been a while, Ahmed. Nice to have you on the show. Sapna, Tanuj and Ritesh, I'll start with you first. Good times for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, made in heaven, amazing times indeed.
Amazing times.
And now
On good times.
all good times. Yeah, and now the next pit stop being the academies.
Yeah,
How's that going?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We have the first shortlist coming out on the 15th of December. So hopefully the jet lag I've been suffering for the last 3 trips will be all worth it. Going for 2 days, coming back and traveling. So yeah, but we are working towards it, trying to get it to the forefront as much as we can.
Can I ask you, what's that formula that Excel has really been excelling in everything they do?
Okay, thank you for that. But I think, I mean, personally, whether it's this content for the web or its features, I think it's something stemming from this, what do you relate to? I think it's your personal identifying with the stories we read and we feel, okay, this is something we want to put our voices behind. So I think it stems from that and just being honest, like not doing something because it seems like a project which will be for any other reason but the fact that you believe and you're passionate about it. So I think we're staying true to that and it's been working. And this first season was the first Emmy nomination which we got in a drama category, then with Gully Boy now. So yeah, you're on the right track.
Well, good times ahead for you also. Now I'll go to Amir before I come to Tanuj. You were a voice in the season 1. Bhai Sahab was a voice, and now we see the character. What was this whole process like for you?
Scary to begin with, because the audience already has, even though he's not seen, they have an image in their head. So to fulfill everyone's expectations was an impossibility. So I gave up on that. So yeah, but for me, all the clues were in the script, and I stuck to those. So let's see how people react. I don't know. I didn't really give it much thought initially. Yes, I was like, but how do how do I play a character who's already there? So do I need to? They said no. You just do your own thing. So yeah, that helped.
So Tanuj, we know that
actually speaking about the voice from season 1, because we hadn't really cast our Bhai Sahab back then, so that's actually my voice. Yeah. I had a bad throat one morning, so I couldn't dub for Vayu. So Karan's like, why don't you just do the Bhai Sahab stuff today? And it made its way into the
Oh, wow, that's a revelation.
It's quite funny.
Breaking news, that's right. So the voice of Bhai Sahab now meet the Bhai Sahab in physical form, man.
Yes, absolutely.
So by you, Mumbai Mavericks, you're quite the cricket buff, and they all say that your character is something like a flamboyant captain, Mr. Kohli.
I don't think so, right? Because I think Kohli used to be a really flamboyant cricketer, but I think once, if I may say so, once he became the captain and once he settled down and got married, you see a distinct change in his personality. True. It could be sledging on the field, it could be him celebrating a century. It's very different. Not to say that this character is inspired by any one personality or any one person, but I also feel that in everyone's life, and especially a cricketer's life, it's like when you start off, you got to prove yourself to so many people. Most importantly to yourself, and I think when you see Vayu in season 1, that's more what he's trying to do. So sometimes that angst, that aggression kind of comes out in an ugly way, right? I mean, you need to shepherd it in the right direction. By the time you see him in season 2, some time has passed. He is now the full-time captain of the Mumbai Mavericks. So he realizes that no matter how well he plays, it's not a one-man game. It's a team sport. You've got 10 other players on the park with you, who you have to nurture, who you have to take care of. You've got the management. You've got so much happening behind the scenes. You have to be a part of all that without getting muck all over you with all that stuff going on. So there's a lot of internal and external push and pull happening with Vayu, and I think it's such an interesting character, right? I mean, sometimes he's proactive and he's also very trigger happy. So you take this guy and you throw him into different situations with different people, and he's going to respond in a very unique manner. So that's what makes it exciting for me, because sometimes before a take, even I don't quite know how I'm going to react. I kind of like spread out a couple of possibilities, And what I feel in the moment, depending on what I'm getting from my co-stars and just the overall vibe, that's what I go with. And then, of course, it's up to the director to
You're
keep what they
actually
want.
talking like one of the cricket captains during their press
Really?
conferences. Yeah, like
I hope the winning captain, not the losing captain. No? 'Cause that would, yeah.
And also, Sapna, your character, they said, actually is the light amongst all these grey characters, Mantra. So tell us a bit about her, because you had Zarina first, who was the powerful woman, and now comes your character. How does she fit into this power
I'm
play?
actually very grateful to have joined a show which is based on a man's game. It's a male cricket team. I know it's based on Alan drama surrounding it, but the female characters in this show are very powerful, and they're all very different. I mean, you have Rohini, who's the intellectual. You have the Bollywood actress Zarina, who wants more than what she's already doing, and now you've got Mantra, who's like the little lost lamb, as everyone's been saying, who's just there to learn, who's there to learn the ropes, who's educated enough, comes from a business background. She's privileged, doesn't like to behave privileged. She's a very grounded character, unlike a lot of the other characters in the show. So she's kind of got her own little space here. So yeah, we're hoping she's the light. Let's see she doesn't get burnt out. So.
And also season 2 is, do you also carry the weight of the success of season 1 on you?
To a certain extent, yes, but it's also a ready opportunity as well. You've got a solid foundation, a good base, Emmy nomination, this, that. So anybody would be happy to jump on the bandwagon. So in that sense, it was an opportunity, a very successful show. Why wouldn't one grab it?
We were actually shooting season 2 when
Yeah.
when the news for the Emmys broke,
And
we were all together
and we initially
actually.
thought it was a joke, right? Like we have a WhatsApp inside WhatsApp group, and we thought like someone's just messing with us. And then few hours later, because of the time difference, we were like, oh no, this is really happening, you know. That was it was awesome because all of us were together, you know, and just to be there together and get such awesome news was great. But coming to your question, I think it's a good problem to have that there's more expectation and pressure this time, because one of two things could have happened. The creators and the writers could have been like, okay, let's give the audience more of the same. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Or then let's use this opportunity to really take a few risks and give the audience who's been waiting for over 2 years something hatke and unexpected. So I think that's the direction that we've tried to go in, and let's see how it all pans out. We'll know very soon.
You know, movies on cricket, except for Lagan, which had blended cricket and nationalism, came together and worked very well. You've had movies like Awal Number and all that didn't work too well. What do you think actually worked in favor of Inside Edge? You blended cricket and you had politics, you had everything together.
Being honest to the spot about what exactly was happening. Like in terms of course, you hear stories. I mean, we've all heard about match fixing going on, true, false, whatever. But I think picking various elements, what I think Karan and Puneet had read when they created the first one, then Guru, all these guys, and they were writing it, they started picking up elements which they were reading and talking about and then blending it. Okay, like obviously when the IPL started, I think that was itself a platform and a inspiration which gave birth to this idea, right? And then you talk about the team owners and all the politics which goes on behind, and then at some point the sport shifting and not happening in your country, which so he's taken bits and pieces of it and then fictionalized a journey, you know. But I think because it's got certain highlights in it which people relate to, like if you see his character, you say, oh, is it Virat Kohli? Or
Yeah.
you see, I remember in the first season, a very good friend of mine is Preeti. You know,
Yeah.
I worked with her and she called me up saying, have you made that show based on me? I said, why would I do that? You know what I mean? I said, is this you? And I gave her like 2-3 instances and she started laughing, saying, no, because people are calling me, and she was in LA. You know, then Shilpa, all these people who are thinking that was Zarina inspired us, it's not at all like that. You know, like where she comes from, it's not anything to do. So I think, but they picked up certain highlights, and when that started coming out, people started owning out, it's a good thing. Yeah. You know, you relate to it, and then whether I fictionalize the rest of it, you're invested in that journey, you know. So that's the beauty, you know, of what happened with it, that you marry films, marry cricket, create all the
Perfect blend.
Perfect blend.
And I also feel that it's not just a sports drama, right? Because see, like in season 1, we promoted it as the game behind the game. This time we're promoting it as the game beyond the game. So I think a lot of people are really hooked on to, because you know, somewhere we all have this perverse thrill in knowing what's happening behind the scenes, you know. In season 1, there were only 22 balls of actual cricket that happened in 10 episodes, which is not that much. which means that it's not just the cricket that was attracting eyeballs. So I feel that drama, which of course is a fictionalized element based on some real incidents and the rest on the writer's imagination. So I think that's what really, yeah.
How did you two non-cricket freaks make your peace with this cricket-obsessed show and nation?
Keeping the bigger picture in mind, like Bhai Saab does.
Who's Bhai Saab modeled on? Anyone like you referred
No,
to?
not anyone.
Karan said something yesterday. He just said we picked the shadiest and worst personality traits of everyone that we could think of and we just put them into one. So
That's Bhai Saab.
that's Bhai Saab, apparently according
I
to
did
Karan.
not get that brief, but okay.
Maybe he didn't want to scare you, I guess.
But also, Amir, I mean, since you've also done a lot of television, film as well, do you think this platform actually gives an actor a wider platform, a canvas to basically showcase his creativity and work on his? And
Definitely, it's the same for the writer, it's the same for the director, it's the same for actors as well. It gives you a bigger canvas basically. You can keep painting and layer after layer after layer, and it gives actors the opportunity to flesh out characters, or character roles, what normally would be character roles, labeled as the friend of the hero or the brother of the hero. Here, that brother also has a story, has a subplot. There are other characters connected to the brother who will have their stories. So it gives that a much more, richer tapestry in that sense. So that is the unique thing about it. Of course, film is there, and film has a different language in the sense that you can say a lot more within a single frame. It could be a silent frame, but you can get a lot more out of it. Here, it's slightly different. Like I said, it's a lot more layers and go from one episode to the other, from one season to the other. So it's like a novel compared to a novella or a short story.
And Sapna, also for the ladies, I mean, they're also getting like quite the platform. I mean, you're not like, you can do anything you want to. People might classify it as bold. People might classify it, like in those early days, they would say, "बहुत fast character hai." But do you think it's now more like democratic and liberating?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many more roles on OTT platforms for women. I mean, they're far more detailed. I mean, I think the regular conventional heroine roles weren't so detailed because they were classed as the heroines. And here, like Amir said, that you've got the time, you've got the space to develop these characters further, and thankfully that is happening.
Anuj, you find this also like a much more satisfying platform than movies, which is over and where you're also concerned about the fate of the film, Friday Go, number.
Yeah, see, I mean, look, I mean, when I set out to be an actor, OTTs did not exist. I mean, there was film and television, and I was very clear that I want to work in movies because that was my dream. But having said that, you have to make the best of whatever opportunities present themselves. I mean, and it just so happened that Excel got in touch with me. All of this worked out. The show ended up becoming a success, and here we are again. So you can't really plan these things, but at the same time, there's a sense of responsibility as opposed to pressure. With films, what happens is, even if we're going for promotions or even if we're anywhere, right? People are like, "Acha, you are the hero of the film. That means the film is resting on your shoulders," and it's nerve-wracking. I mean, I've been there a couple of times unsuccessfully. It's nerve-wracking because by that Saturday morning, you know whether you're going to be employed for the next few years or you're going to be absolutely in box office prison, right? And that's not the best way of working, because when I'm acting, I want to keep it as pure and as real that I'm doing it to satiate the need of the story, the characters, and the script, as opposed to, oh, I think this is massy and this will work at the box office, so I'll do that kind of acting. So I think this entire OTT platform, especially working with Excel and Amazon, really gives me those wings to fly, if I may say so. Like, I mean, I can really go out there, express myself. Sometimes, see, it's a democratic set, right? I mean, so like, I might try a few things. They may like it, they'll keep it. If they don't like it, we'll do it their way. But they at least give you that freedom. So, and that, yeah.
I personally feel also that what this platform is doing is it's giving an opportunity, a lot more talent to come out both in front and behind.
True.
Like, you have new actors which are being born, others you are limited to only these many finite. Like when Amir was saying earlier, you have a character which may come in on episode 1, and he'll have a very small part, or he'll have 5 scenes, but that character stays with you, and then suddenly you realize in the last 2 episodes he's got a strong impact, and there's a larger. So those kind of characters, they don't just fly away. You've invested in them, then you want to see more of them. And I feel it's even, like I said, and then the opportunity you get as an actor is that you're not only right now restricted to your country and to films being made in that place. You can go out and your work is being noticed by film. I know now there are actors from other shows which are being cast in a Spanish show. They've been getting casting agents, because when we were in LA, I remember the Amazon team, they were like talking, the entire international team was saying, from Mirzapur, this actor, we need him for this show.
Wow.
And they were just talking about people from across. So you're seeing what is happening. And then obviously a lot of the homes worldwide are now investing in your talent. They are watching your shows. You as a filmmaker get an opportunity today also to go out there and, showcase a lot more. So I think it's definitely widened up the market, and you're very soon going to see actors who have come from OTT now doing films as well. Earlier it used to be very difficult, you are doing this, you're on TV and you don't do it. There's no such thing. You're a great actor, your character has worked and connected, and today you can just move out,
So lastly, what do you all think about the censorship of the OTT platform? It's January is what they're talking about. That
I don't think there's any censorship, because I've been involved in that discussion with them. They're not trying to go down the censorship rule at all. They're trying to do a self-regulatory like the broadcast industry goes.
Okay.
And they have very clear guidelines for it, that in terms of, we don't want to frame what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Think about it, because you're watching this in terms of, as a family, if you were to, so just be sensitive too much, just because you have the liberty, and we know there are shows which are coming in from around the world and we'll never be able to do something about it. But the fact that you need to be understanding what your culture is, what you're being sensitive. So I think they were stemming from that, just because you have the liberty, don't misuse it. If it's organic and it seems seamless coming into your narrative, do it. But there is no such thing that, you can't have nudity or you can't have action. I think there was a discussion about, child pornography. And I said, yeah, I fully understand that. You know what I mean? You don't want to have that shown in a certain way, but there's no such thing. I want to show about human trafficking and slavery. They have no issues with a larger, they're not trying to curb your creativity also, because it was quite a constructive discussion when I was involved in one of them. And they said, see, we understand that our content from here is now going global. We are getting recognition. This is the first time like it happened with the Emmys, Oscars, and we don't want to curb that. We don't want to stop that. So I think, I don't know whether they'll come down and censor it and do that. In fact, we are going one step ahead of thinking to even start broadening up the rating system on theatrical. Why does it have to be either this or that?
Yeah, true.
Or
it can be 13.
So I think it's quite, and I think it's going in the right way. I don't think there's an issue, personally.
Let's ask the actors, is gives you more creative freedom than movies?
I think there's a lot of things that are connected to the stories, and there's things that you can't remove, and they're pivotal to the stories, and now in our case second seasons and so on. So it completely destroys the viewing experience as well. But at the same time, you also have the option to skip.
Well, as Uncle Ben once told Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So I think it's each of our responsibilities to make sure that what we're doing is in service of the script and the story, and it's done in an organic way and not just to sensationalize or to make sure that people are watching it only because of that. Case in point being my opening scene in season 1, right? You take that scene away, you don't really establish Vai Raghavan as that person. It was required. A lot of people were initially like, whoa, what was that? But it was essential because it served the story and served the character. But if you're just for the heck of it putting in expletives and sex scenes and drugs, to titillate the audience, then I think that's absolutely wrong.
Well, these are interesting times we are living in. So I think the problem arises, it goes beyond, sex and nudity and bad language and all that. What is politically sensitive?
Yes.
And if that is being censored, that's problematic, in my opinion. So if that is not happening, well and good. If it is, then it is censorship, and we should call it that.
You're right about that. Anyways, all the very best. Hopefully to see you all for season 3. And good luck. Maybe we will speak again in February. More power. Thank you so much. All the very
Thank
best.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.